They have started.
I'm still in Rucina. I work in the National Museums of Kenya, Nairobi. An institution that I've been working for quite some time. I met Rob over 20 years ago in Nairobi in a conference on pollen database. And then after that, we developed a very close relationship because we were venturing into the same direction. Our career was very similar, and this is vegetation reconstruction. Uh, Later, I didn't know that I would work with Rob as my supervisor for a PhD when I was admitted at the University of Amsterdam in Netherlands. And Robert supervised my PhD, and I happened to visit York for 4 months, uh, where I worked very closely with Rob as I was writing my PhD. My project was basically based in two levels. Mount Kenya, which is a high altitude mountain, where I looked at sediments and constructed vegetation. We happened to produce a very good paper, and then later the papers were published, joint papers. Some of these high altitude areas are the sources of some of the water that we have, we people drink. And when you interfere with these landscapes, including where the source of this water comes from, or rivers, the source of these rivers that are widely used regionally, then you start interfering with these. What next do you expect? You expect that you have water scarcity, and it's likely there's going to be conflict among societies because of resources. And the past is very clear. He's telling us that climate change is real. But it's also with us right now because of the human is making it even worse than previously in our historical records. When the human, we have this carbon being introduced, all these inert gases, and many other things that clearance of forests, you, you know, like the oil, gas, all these oil industries, and all these are really polluting the environment. And therefore, uh, when we have the history, it's very easy for us to tell people that the climate is real. And at the same time, the data that is being generated, this data can help in modeling, developing some models that can easily predict what's likely to happen. Most of these changes have taken place during the Holocene period. And the Holocene is when the humans started interacting with the landscape. That's during this Holocene, especially late Holocene, is when humans started developing some technology, like iron smelting, technology, and all this. And therefore, they they used this technology to clear because they needed probably land for cultivation, or land to settle, land to graze. It's a combination of many things that will, depending on where the society is. For example, there's a paper written by Rob from doing the forest in Uganda, the impenetrable forest in Uganda, and it's very clear. You look at the rate of sedimentation, and that is a period, almost the period when iron technology was being developed. And then you could see the rate of sedimentation was very high in this part of the world. And therefore, it's a very clear thing. And remember, in my earlier talk, I talked about Ethiopia. If you could look at the pollen diagram that is developed from Ethiopia, it's very clear that you'll find that there's a lot of erosion. Even the rate of erosion is very high. And when you look at the landscape, how the landscape is, you can see there are so many scars within the landscape. And of course, most of the the topsoils and nutrients have been washed down and go to waste, then the production goes down. And all this is a result of human input without you taking care of the land in the right way, or developing some mitigation measures that are going to prevent soil erosion, etc. And of course, land that threatens human life.
Probably one of the most productive paleo labs that I know of in the world.
Yes, but we still got a long way to go.
Yes.
Because we would like to look at the different proxies. The proxies that we try to study are very few, though they give them almost a similar results like any other proxy. But we want to diversify. We diversify so that we can be able to compare different proxies and see do they really agree than being limited to some few proxies. And the other thing is that we have tried for the last about maybe slightly more than 30 years. We have tried to develop the lab, but still we still need more resources to put up on some very very good equipment that we need to be very very competitive. That's one. The other thing is that because we need to have more people, young people, being one of the challenges. Okay, you can do a lot of capacity building, but then you don't provide the tools to this. Can train people, train, and then these people don't have resources to do research. Then somehow, at the end of it, it's like a lot of money have been wasted in training somebody who does not have the tools to do the work.
Yeah.
And which is, I think, it's not a very good thing. It's an experience I've noticed within our institutions.
Right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Stephen. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations with you.
Yeah.
And let's keep that collaboration going into the future.